if I'm being honest, normally I'd get a bit of bread and I'll just wipe that pan, because that's tasty butter. Oh yeah, did I mention that this isn't a particularly healthy dish? Bacon and butter. Worst comes to worst, you've got a bit of bacon and you've got a bit of scallop and you just eat them together. I mean, boo-hoo. Streaky bacon isn't exactly a consistent form of measurement. Hiya! Right, should be quite a quick and simple one. We're going to make bacon scallop skewers. So I've got, these are the only skewers I've got at the moment, kind of medium sized ones, so you can get 3 per skewer. But they work just well if you just use a cocktail stick and do them on the run, just do little hors d'oeuvres. Carrying on with like the harissa prawn thing I did, it's a great little tapasy sort of thing you can just chuck on the menu. I mean, scallops are fine on their own. Scallops probably are my favourite thing in the world. I love cooking them, I love eating them, I love saucing them. It's just I don't know why, I love a scallop. So scallops on their own, fine. But wrap them with a little bit of bacon, just adds a little bit of, I don't know, mixes it up a little bit. So this is streaky bacon. Now, what all we're doing is grabbing a rasher of streaky bacon, and we're going to pull apart the two, well, I suppose you'd call them streaks. Streaky bacon isn't exactly a consistent form of measurement, so it's entirely possible your streaky bacon will already be the right sort of size. But what we want is, if you get yourself a scallop, so there's your scallop set that way, if you put it on its side, you want the bacon to be ever so slightly, roughly the same size. It can be a bit bigger, be a bit smaller. You don't want like a whole full breakfast rasher of bacon just wrapped around your scallop. You can end up with scraps, keep them, stick them in a bag in the fridge. You essentially just make bacon lardons. This is smoky bacon because I like the smoke. Normal bacon's fine, pancetta would work. Even ham or parma ham or prosciutto, any of those sort of things would work. Prosciutto would probably be very nice actually. I'm gonna be cooking this in a pan. I think this is really the best way to do this, but you can do this on a barbecue. You just kind of got to know what you're doing, you got to know your heats, and you know it ain't gonna stick. I've already done quite a few here. I'm gonna run through a couple just to show you. So, like I said, 1 streak of streaky bacon. Should not wrap that around. It will naturally kind of stick a little bit, but you just want to go to 360 degrees and pass it a little bit so that bacon's overlapping. Then cut that off. Then I find it easier if you then lay that back flat again with your skewer. You want to go halfway up so you're going through both the bits of bacon and the middle as best you can at the scallop, and pop it out the other side and then hold it either side of the spike and just slide it down. Some of the scallops might tear a little bit, but the bacon will hold them together, so you should be okay. And do check to make sure that your offcuts of bacon won't work for the next, aren't useful for the next one, because waste not, want not. But like I said, that's not really waste, but careful not to skewer your finger as well while you're at it. Slide it down. And at the last but not least, she's a little one, so I reckon a bit of this will do. We've got something else in my scraps. Yeah, that'll do. Do something for that. And around, pop your skewer through the bacon, holding it all together, through and out the other side. Let's miss the bacon on the other side, that one, but we're not perfect, we're not all perfect. Right, so I'm gonna quickly clear this all off. Don't want just a load of raw bacon lying around. Put that all in the fridge, and then we're gonna move on to cooking. So we're back in a mere few seconds. All right, we're back. Preheating a pan. It's one of the few times I do like to go for a non-stick, just to be on the safe side with the scallops. High heat. We're gonna turn it down a little bit when the scallops go in there. I have put a tiniest bit of oil in there and just brushed it round, you might be able to see, just to help a bit of browning, but that bacon's gonna release some fat anyway. The only other ingredient we're gonna have, a decent knob of butter there. Right at the end, we're gonna chuck that butter in, let it brown off a bit and baste it all. And I'm actually gonna quickly grab a plate just to pull them out onto. Tongs might be handy, especially if you're doing individual ones on skewers, on cocktail sticks. But since I've got big skewers, I can probably manipulate them with a skewer, but tongs can't hurt. You know, that get hot, almost smoking hot. Well, actually, we're gonna let it get smoking hot and turn it down a little bit. We're gonna cook them on one side, get a nice brown crust. The bacon will need to be, normally you'd cook a scallop one side hot, flip it hot and done. Because they're wrapped in bacon, we need to cook that bacon a little bit. So we are going to turn them on the sides, but the bacon is going to protect the scallop from the heat of the pan. We're going to be quick enough that we don't have to worry about overcooking the scallop. But on top of that, the bacon's going to add moisture back to all of that. We're definitely not going to cook them long enough so the scallops turn to little bullets of rubber. Tiny little wisps of smoke coming off that pan now. So I'm going to knock the heat down to a medium high. And we are just going to go straight in on one side with our scallops. And they should sizzle straight away. Don't crowd your pan. I've got plenty of room here. If you're using a smaller pan and you're cooking more scallops, or if the skewers are getting in the way, do them in batches. But just going to leave that. We're also not salting them, there's enough salt in that bacon. Normally you season your scallop, bit of salt on either side, but we're not going to do that either because of all the salt in that bacon. So just going to leave that. I'm going to have to turn my extractor on probably. Right, so it's about a minute. Once you start to smell in the air bacon and scallop. So if you want to just pick them up and have a quick look, you start to see that golden brown crust. So at that point, you're just going to turn them up onto that first side. What you might find is that if you've not skewered them all particularly flat, you might have a scallop that's not in contact with the pan. So what I should have told you to do is at the beginning, give them all a push and make sure all three of your scallops are in touch with the pan. Pick them up, put them on the side like that. Sometimes you have to lean them together, that's all cool. Like that. See what I mean there? So that scallop's not quite fully kissed because the other two scallops have held it up off of the pan. That's one of the benefits if you lay them down flat and skewer them all at once. But then you've got to weave all the bacon in and out, and yeah. So about another minute on that side. Probably less than a minute actually. Let's have a little look. We're about 30 seconds now. Yeah, a couple of seconds longer. You might find the bacon contracts a bit and starts to pull away, and if it's not well anchored with the skewer, it might even fall apart. Worst comes to worst, you've got a bit of bacon and you've got a bit of scallop and you just eat them together. I mean, boo-hoo. So yeah, we're going to flip these back onto the other side. So we're going to open one side, one bacon edge to the other. We're not looking to get proper crispy bacon here. We just want to cook that bacon to the point where it's edible. If you were to cook that bacon long enough for it to get crispy, it'd break off from around the scallop and you'd be overcooking the scallop as well. The other thing you need to be careful is bacon's going to release some moisture as well, which is going to cool the pan down. So if you see it start to, the temperature, you can hear it. The volume of the pan will really drop down. Don't know if you can tell that that's quite a bit quieter than it was. And you can see loads of water bubbling. That's because it's now boiling that water instead of frying the stuff. So you might just want to kick the heat up a little bit if the bacon puts out loads of moisture, just so you've still got a really hot, hard sear there for your scallops. Right, so after about another 30 to 40 seconds, maybe a minute on the other side, we're going to go onto that final side of scallop. Give them all a push down. You might want to use a spatula or a... Turn that heat back down a bit. And now we're going to chuck in that butter. We're going to melt that butter and let it go a bit brown. And then we're going to baste over the top of those scallops. Obviously, if you're doing this on a barbecue, you can't do this part. You have to do it in a separate pan and then come back. But all we're going to do then is tilt that pan and just scoop up that butter, just drizzle it, baste it back over our scallops. Oh yeah, did I mention that this isn't a particularly healthy dish? Bacon and butter. If you wanted to freshen this up a little bit, some chopped tarragon goes over the top of all this quite well at the end, or a spritz of lemon. But if you're doing it as like a little tapasy, hors d'oeuvre sort of dish, it's alright to be rich. It's alright for it to have a lot of salty, fatty, meaty, rich texture to it, because it's supposed to be, it's just a little bite. Alright, so I'm cooling those, and I'm just going to evacuate those out onto our plate. And we're just going to go over the top of them with that last bit of browned butter. There we go. These are utterly, utterly divine. You'll usually end up with one side, there you go, yeah, they look a bit better than the other. So put your best foot forward and all that. I might actually make a little display like that. There we go. There she blows. Like I said, this might be, I said in the other video about Tapas Tuesday, this might be a Tapas Tuesday video, or it might just be a video. But it's scallop, it's scallops wrapped bacon, and I mean, what else do you want? Like, what more could you want from me than this? If you come to my house and I'm doing dinner and I've got this either as a side or as an hors d'oeuvre or as just a plate with some stuff. Oh, come on. There you go. Robert's your mother's brother and all that jazz. Some photos for the gram. You know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments and follow me on Instagram, because this has probably been on Instagram weeks ago, because I started got it on a roll and batch filmed a load of videos. So this is like 4 or 5 deep in the queue at the moment. But yeah, be good, can't be good, be lucky. And I'll see you when I see you.